What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and in today's episode I'm going to be going over a USDCHF loss that I took, because it's very important to go through and analyze your setups when they're losing, because that's when you make the most progress in terms of your trades, where you can identify kind of where potentially you've gone wrong, what maybe you didn't see, so you can adapt for next time and not make that same mistake as before. So let's go through this loss that I took on USDCHF and why I was seeing it, and this, that, and the other. So on the daily, as you guys can see, we are very low in the market. As you can see here, we haven't been this low for a very long time. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's see if I can zoom out. As you can see, a very long time. We haven't been this low since 2011. So we are hella low in the market now, as you can see. Looking on the daily as well and zooming in, as you can see, we rejected nicely off this daily trend line up here and made our way back down to the downside, right? So the reason why I was looking for buys is because, as you can see, on the 4 hour here, we were actually creating a short-term uptrend. As you can see, we have one touch here. We created multiple touches here. Look how many times it hit this area. And again, we touched here again. And what do we do when we hit this area? We usually get some bullish impulse to the upside, right? So what I was really looking for on this trade, just because we're so low as well and we're in this structure, is if we get the rejection off this trend line, break back above this zone, I'm going to look to take this where? To the upside. Where did we reject before? This big daily trend line, right? So when, obviously, if this trade was to play out, my final target would just be at the trend line here. I would have set an alert kind of at the trend line area, or just taken the zone before down below, so around these areas here. So my initial target, I'm looking at about 185 pips, which would have been a fantastic trade, right? With a loss of roughly, as you can see, I think this was like 35 pips in the end, or something like that. So as you can see, where's the first level that we come up to? So when we reject this area, we are at least coming to these levels here, right? Which is why I marked this area. This would have been my TP1 level. So target one hit at this level, around 37 pips. I would have moved my stop loss to entry, made that trade risk-free, and just obviously seen where it'd run throughout from there. Now, reason why I was seeing buys on this pair is because if we hop down to the 1 hour, I can show you a really good reason why. Now, as you can see, what do we do when we come to this level, guys? We've hit this level once, twice, 3 times, and then we got the big push to the upside. Where to these levels? Again, we've come back down to these levels, rejected again, and then where have we gone? Straight back up to this level here. So my thoughts was that, okay, we could be starting this uptrend here, right? So we've come down, and as you can see here, we have a massive wick off this trend line, and that actually closed back above the zone. So my entry on this trade was here. Reason why, again, big wick off this area. We've closed back above the zone. And what do we usually do when we close back above the zone? We at least come up to these levels here, right? So we've got the big wick on this candle, which signals reversal, especially with that much momentum. But unfortunately, as you can see, we broke below. We've been playing around this area, and we couldn't get the break back above, and we've just continued to the downside. And unfortunately, at around 2 AM, I got stopped out on this pair at around this level here. As you can see, the break of my stop loss level over here, which is obviously a great stop loss because we continued further down of around 35 pips. Now, some of you guys that are new are probably thinking, Dan, why aren't you annoyed with, this loss? Why doesn't the losses phase you? The reason why losses don't phase me is because of the system that I've built. Now, I have to have multiple confirmations to enter a trade in the first place. So I have done everything in my power to make sure that this trade is going to go the way that I want it to go. And if it doesn't, I can be happy doing it. I did everything, stayed patient, waited for my confirmations, to make this trade go the way that I wanted it to go, right? And unfortunately, trading is one of them skills that you can do everything perfect and still be wrong. Because as you probably heard me say before, if we won every single trade, we'd all be billionaires right now, guys. You're going to have to take some losses in between, and that's absolutely fine. As you can see here, I did everything in my power to make sure that this trade was going to go the way that I wanted it to go. Multiple confirmations. I'll give you just a few off the top of my head. One confirmation, we started an uptrend on the 1 hour and 4 hour. We respect this level really, really nicely. Second confirmation, we got the wick of this level, a huge wick signaling reversal, and the close back above this zone, where what do we do when we close back above this zone here around the 82049 areas? We at least come to these levels here of my TP1. That's already 3 confirmations there already. So as many confirmations as possible. We got everything that I wanted from this trade, and unfortunately it just didn't go away, and that's just how trading works sometimes. Now let's go to the replay tool so you can see exactly my entry on this trade played out, so you guys can see kind of what I was looking at. So let's go here, for example. So as you can see, we're on the replay now. This is what this trade would have looked like to me, obviously before the moves played out that day. Let's hop to the 4 hour. It'd be a little more easier to see. So as you can see here, this is what I was looking at. So I was like, okay, if this trade comes down to this level, maybe even closes underneath, gets the close back above, we could be seeing those nice buys. Okay, let's see this play out. So let's press the play button. Let's hop down to the 1 hour. So you can see my entry. Why has it done that then? Let me just redo this so you guys can see. Replay from this level here on the 1 hour. As you can see, we started to come down. We're playing around this area, got that momentum, and as you can see here, we got the huge wick off this level. Zoom in, we've closed where, guys? Back above this level. So this was my entry point right here on the close of this 1 hour candle. Unfortunately, we then got the play around this area, couldn't quite break back above. We did actually break above slightly, as you can see, but just couldn't get the momentum, and unfortunately overnight got stopped out on the break of this level and the break of these lows over here, as you can see. So I did everything in my power to make sure that this trade was going to go the way that I wanted it to go, and unfortunately it just doesn't happen sometimes, guys. You are going to take some losses, and I'm perfectly fine with that because, as I said before, I've done everything in my power to make sure that I've done everything I can for this trade to go the way that I wanted it to go. Now, because of my risk management as well, this was only around like a 1%, maybe a tiny bit more. Maybe I think it was 1%. Yeah, 1% loss on this trade, which obviously we can make back in a trade. One trade and we can make this back. And more, obviously, depending on the position and everything like that. So you're going to take your scheduled losses. It's part of it. But I'll put the loss on the screen as well, so you guys can see kind of what I'm playing with and what's going on. But I just think it's very, very important to go over your losses, because there's a lot of losses that you're going to learn from, especially maybe from you guys that are watching that don't quite have a strategy under your belt yet, don't quite have a set system that you follow and everything like that. You're going to be learning a hell of a lot. Even me, now, you're still going to be learning lots along the way, little things to tweak. That, you know, that you've seen that, okay, that's happened a few times now. That's probably not a coincidence. Let's change that up. And throughout, and this was unfortunately just one of them trades where I can't really take anything from this other than we just keep going. Just move on to the next trade. Because I did everything in my power, as I said. There's nothing that I can see here that I could have done differently. Maybe the only thing is maybe be a little bit more patient and wait for this to come down to this level. But the reason why I didn't do that is because we've got the big rejection off this trend line. We've got the close above. So it's obviously given It was obviously giving the vibe here that we were going to go to the upside and didn't. So it's just one of them ones, guys. You are going to take losses along the way. But as I say, make sure you document them. Make sure you take something from your losses, because that's really going to help you in the future. Anything. Make sure you've got a trading journal. Make sure you're writing down maybe the patterns that you've seen in other losses that you've taken, to then tweak that for next time. Because it's all about just making them little tweaks, building your confirmation system, obviously around how the market moves, and everything like that, and you'll be flying before you know it. It's all about persistency and just staying in it, because if your strategy has an edge, it's going to win over time. You know, this loss was covered by profits already made from before, so it's, you know, it's a little tiny little slap on the hand, if you say, not even that, of a loss. So yeah, guys, I hope this was obviously insightful to kind of, you know, what you might see in your trading with losses and everything like that. But just don't let the losses phase you. Being in touch with your emotions is one of the most important parts of trading, and it's the longest part to get used to as well, because you have to rewire your brain for it. But in my specific system, I have a fixed set of rules where only if they're met, I enter the trade. So that instantly puts my mind at ease, because I'm following a fixed set of systematic rules, and you know, I know exactly where to take action and where. So, you know, over time, the strategy is always going to come out. Not always, but obviously over time, that edge is going to take over, and we obviously come out nicely. I think this is, we're not even the end of the week yet. I'm in a slight loss for the week this week, but I think the last 4 weeks, I don't think I've lost a trade. So it's been absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I hope this is insightful for you guys. Any questions, shove them in the comments, or feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at any point. If you guys want insight on my strategy and exactly how I implement my strategy, then click the video kind of around here right now. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy trading. Let's see how we go on the next ones. Let's get it.